do we do with longtime Cramer fave PPG up here at nearly $208? For those of you who don't remember, PPG is a specialty chemical company run by the fabulous Chuck Bunch, one of my 21 bankable CEOs from Get Rich Carefully. At a time when nearly every chemical company under the sun is trying to become less commodity-focused and more proprietary, PPG is well ahead of the game, having already sold its commodity businesses, and it's bulking up on its specialty chemical exposure for ages now, including the acquisition of Comex, the Mexican paint maker, for $2.3 billion announced at the end of June, a brilliant acquisition. PPG reported still one more terrific quarter today, and while the overall market got hammered, this stock climbed $1.91 to finish only a few points away from its all-time high, in part because of stellar sales from Europe, of all places, where businesses grew at a 28% clip. Yep, just one more excellent quarter from a company I regard as one of the most dependable industrials on earth. What's my definition of dependable? How about a stock that's up 33% over the last 12 months and up 415% with reinvested dividends since I first got behind the name a little more than 5 years ago? Can this stock keep marching higher? Let's check in with Chuck Bunch, the bankable chairman and CEO of PPG, to learn more about the quarter and his company's prospects. Mr. Bunch, welcome back to Mad Money.
Thank you, Jim. It's great to be back.
Chuck, I've got to tell you, when I saw this quote, excellent earnings contribution from Europe, it reminded me of another era. How did that come to pass?
Well, you know, Jim, we've been talking about the European market together for the last couple of years. We saw signs of improvement towards the end of last year. First quarter was better. And even though the volume is still modest in terms of growth, we're putting a lot of that to work on the bottom line. So we had good sales growth, but very nice earnings growth. So we feel better about the European market.
Okay, well, let's just so our viewers understand, you're a long-term player in Europe. When you have disturbing news like we got in Ukraine, Russia, with the presidential sanctions last night, and then, of course, the horrific plane crash, does that mean that that PPG, which is a long-term player, has to think, well, wait a second, let's not get too big into Europe? Or is it just kind of like, you know what, these incidents happen and Europe's a big continent, we got to be there?
Well, I would say it's more the latter, Jim. You know, we have a broad participation in Europe. Biggest concentration of our sales are in Western Europe. We have a very small position in Russia. Less than 1% of our company's sales are in Russia, and those are primarily exported. So we feel good about the overall European market. Obviously, this is a very disturbing and tragic events in Russia. We feel, though, that the underlying economic trends have been favorable, and we would look for that to continue, although, again, the growth rates in Europe have been quite modest, but they are recovering.
All right, Chuck, let's talk about this amazing acquisition in a country that, well, part of a country that I'm most proud of, really, really fond of in terms of growth, which is Mexico. This makes your company very much, even more international. What percentage of your company is now United States, and what is outside of the United States?
Well, we're now almost 60% of our sales are outside of North America, and that will increase with the Comex acquisition in Mexico, although technically it is part of NAFTA. It is a developing region, but we are very excited about it. Comex is an excellent company with a leading position in architectural coatings, a market in Mexico that we don't currently participate in. We have a leading position in Mexico in the automotive OEM business that's been growing nicely, but this will really widen our participation, give us some good scale opportunities, and Mexico is a market that I believe is growing and is going to be a force both in consumer markets as well as a growing industrial presence.
One of the things I saw in your conference call I thought was really important is a lot of people feel that paint's commodity, whether it be Mexico, whether it be Europe. You're specifically making the case that not only is paint growing, but your share's growing because of technology in paint.
Yes. Yes, for us, coatings in all markets is always a specialty market. It is not a commodity market. There is real innovation, real technology development, always a high service component. Coatings are an important value added for all of our customers, And we feel, especially in high technology markets like aerospace or automotive OEM, that we have been bringing a lot of technical innovation to bring new value, better corrosion protection, better consumer colors for exteriors. So we can add a lot of value for a very low cost benefit. So we think that we're a technology and innovation driven company.
Well, I tell you, it really does work. That's why I always tell people, listen, you hear about the kind of basic plain vanilla things they make, and they're not plain vanilla, which is why you've done such an outstanding job. Chuck Bunch, Chairman and CEO of PPG. Thank you so much, sir, for being on the show.
Thank you, Jim.
Outstanding quarter from PPG. This is an amazing company that just keeps delivering, and a lot of it is because the man you just saw is so bankable. Chuck Bunch. Stay with PPG, stay with Cramer.